Hello, hello, hello. The light is coming from there, and it is not very complimentary, but there's nothing I can do about. I already turned around all the way around in a circle, and I didn't like so much the way I looked, but that's okay. And this here is kind of dirty. It has stains and I need to bleach this. And now the camera angle is even lower because I had to do some adjustments in my bedroom. I had to switch Tupper containers. The Tupper containers that I use as my desks to put the computer on. So I had the Tupper container that was like half a foot pedestal, okay, to have it on, and that was like this. And I had to switch that because that caused my back to ache really badly because I was hunched over like this on the couch while I was typing. But for making the videos, that would be better, that was better. But now I have to use the Tupper container that is like about 2 feet pedestal, and really large Tupper container where I put the computer on so that I can sit up I have to sit up really straight like this, and I have my hands like this, and I sit basically like this. So lean back on the couch against the pillow, and then type like this. That is such a relief for my back, to straighten, to stretch and straighten out my spinal cord. And everyone needs to pay attention to those things. I noticed that a lot of people don't pay attention to that, to their lumbar system, not the lumbar system, the lumbar system, their spinal cord. Very important to pay attention to it. And a lot of people, they ignore their pains and aches. I don't ignore that, when the aches start, so you have to, it's like a warning call from your body. Your body says, wait a minute, you're pinching our nerves here, so in all of those discs and stuff. The discs, they have to be free, they have to be stretched apart. So it's very important. I have to do the same at the other house. Whenever I was sewing, I was hunched over because the table is too low. I have a very long back, and even though the chair, it's a very cheap folding chair that I'm using there, that is low to the ground, that is still not working because my back is so long and I'm hunched over, and it just aches so bad. So a couple of hours of sewing, meditation, by hand, and using a lot of, that uses a lot of introspection and patience. And then my back aches so badly that I feel like crying. So Paul has a really tall table that he got not long ago. It has a crack in the middle because it folds up in half. And I thought I can't use that for sewing, but now that my back hurts so bad, I'm going to have to switch the tables. I have to use the tall table and still sit on that short folding chair, and then I can stretch my spinal cord, and do the sewing like that, and that works so much better. The same with this here, You have to think outside of the box with these kind of things. Don't go to a physician and expect them to figure out how you are working on your office table and what the situation is, what kind of chairs you have, and so on. They just want to sell you stuff, and or they want to sell you expensive lumbar support office chairs that are not very much better than the cheap one you have from whatever, from a closeout sale or whatever. So this one here is definitely, this is a cheap closeout sale chair I have here, and Paul got those. I would not have gotten them because they have some leather patches on it, which I am against. But now that we have it, I have to use it, of course. But because I don't buy leather anymore at all. Okay, no more. And so then they think they make this luxurious, but the same with the van. They want to make the seat comfortable, but then it doesn't have any lumbar support. The lumbar support is when, right where the spinal cord is, there's an elevation. Okay, it goes way, way, way out like that. Okay, that's lumbar support, where your shoulder blades are going back into the chair, and your spinal cord is forced forward like this. Okay, that's lumbar support. That's very, very important for being, for in the van, in the car, in office chairs, on the couch, recliner chair, whatever, wherever we sit for prolonged time. Okay, we need to have lumbar support. Very, very important. So I'm taking care of all of these things, and every time I figure something out, I feel so much better. I feel like, I can take care of things, even if those are, they're seemingly, not very spectacular actions or something, but for your spinal cord, they actually are spectacular actions to take. So I highly recommend to people, don't become like that old man on Highway 299 on our way to the lumber mill. We had to stop. There are many construction sites, okay, and we had to stop for 20 minutes. And the old man in front of us got out of his car, and I felt so sorry for him. And he had his hands on the top of the car, and he was leaning over like this, like he was trying to stretch out his spinal cord, and he looked very miserable. I felt really bad for him. Who knows? That's a long, winding highway. Highway 299, the haunted highway, goes all the way from McKinleyville to Alturas. Okay. All the way across California, all the way through Redding, all the way to Alturas. And Alturas, that's where, that's not far from the Nevada border, so not very far. So, yeah, that's a long, long, long road. And for that guy with back pain, not a good idea. He's gonna have to figure out some lumbar support for himself. But anyway, now I talked about this for a long time. What I really want to talk about today is, that's a very old subject that I have been talking about already in the past. Ego, pride. And I want to look at both women and men, but my emphasis is always on men because I'm trying to figure out how they function. So it has been very, very difficult to figure that out for me. It took me a whole lifetime, but I think I'm kind of getting to the nitty-gritty now of this. It always comes back to ego and pride, and that's the psychological defense mechanism. They want to prevent hurt, They have been hurt, we all have been hurt, The ego wants to protect us. And with men throughout the whole world, they have been fed a propaganda about how they're supposed to behave, in society, how they're supposed to feel, how they're never supposed to cry, they're supposed to be tough or something like this. And they're supposed to be honorable, whatever that means, it means something very neurotic. So, because society is neurotic, because this neurosis, it's a mass neurosis, has been going on for a very long time, and they trade it from one generation to the next. Okay? And particularly the fathers pawn that off on their sons. Okay, so in my family, it wasn't about being tough, because their focus is only on prestige. But that ties right into what I'm going to be talking about, because in this case here, they also fall into that category, what I'm going to be addressing. They fall in fully because of their prestige way of thinking. And my brother and my dad, and I heard my dad saying things like, that girl there, there was a woman, she had her horse at my mother's horse community at the meadow, and my dad got to see her a couple of times, and he was like, that lady, she's good, she's good looking, she's pretty. You can be seen with her. One can be seen with her. Okay, so that's what I'm addressing now. This is a red flag for me, the subject, This is cake in the face material, So it's like, I want to get some cakes, vegan cakes, and I want to push it in my dad's face, in my brother's face, into all of you, all men's faces who are falling victim to society telling them that they have to be honorable, they have to be looking whatever, socially acceptable, and they use wives like suits, the wives that suit them, in society, so the trophy wife, yeah, I can be seen with her, and then they will get guy credits. Oh, you got yourself a model. Nobody's really into her sexually, but hey, he has prestige. Okay, so, and that's exactly what is going on. Of course, yeah, they have sex with them too, but that's not really what they want. It doesn't feel that great to them. I'm ruthlessly honest with this video here. I have been observing this now for many, many years. I've observed this with my own eyes. I have observed this firsthand as being looked at, by men. And then the moment they see their friends seeing them look at me, they go like, yeah, just to make sure that the friends know that he looks down on me. But before that, he was like, that's how it goes, I've seen this in Germany. My whole life, this has been going on like this. My whole life. This is that's a disconnect between brain, mind, your natural beingness, person, and your body and your biology. Okay, it's a disconnect. So you ignore what you really want, you ignore your beingness, You ignore your preferences, okay, because you want to be accepted by society. Okay, so I've seen that so many times, particularly with Middle Eastern men, and anyone like Mediterranean. I'm sorry to have to say it, but this is my observation. That's very intense with those people, very extreme. It's not as extreme with Scandinavian men, which is interesting. They seem to be more attuned, more honest. They're paying more attention. For them, it's like, I like her, I love her, That's the Scandinavian more, I'm not saying everyone. It's just an observation, okay? And with equatorial people, they don't care so much, So they like the chubbier. They all like the chubbier. But the men with the prestige way of thinking, they will put their pride over their own biology, okay? And they pay a very high price for this because they pay with suffering, okay? They live a double life, okay? The trophy wife in the house and the chubby mistress, I don't know, maybe in the log cabin or in the basement, hopefully not, okay? Or the chubby mistress gets some kind of, if they're really wealthy, she gets some nice house with a pool somewhere that the trophy wife doesn't know anything about, okay? So, and then he goes there on the weekends. He tells the trophy wife, I'm seeing my volleyball buddies. I know that from my own family. Okay. I am not judging from the higher perspective. I love my family members, okay, but I have to say, I have to call the kid by the name. I have to say the way it is. So it is what it is. Okay, so he wants the cake and he wants to eat it too. He wants the trophy wife. He wants the mistress with more cushion, for his pushing. But he doesn't want anyone to know about that. No, that's socially unacceptable. No. He is prestige. He's respectable. He has a standing in society. What a lie. So I hope I make the point with this now. And it bothers me, of course. I think it's sad. It's just simply sad. I hear ridiculous statements from my mother. My mother was like fully indoctrinated by society. That's why she could never let herself gain any extra pounds. She will say things like, if you're fat, people will treat you like a pancake, stuff like this. If you're a pancake, don't be surprised if the people will eat you like a pancake. Brother, man, I don't even know where to get started with that. So, or she'll say, if you're fat, people will think you're stupid. I have seen a whole lot of overweight, highly intellectual women and men. So, no, that statement doesn't hold up at all. Okay. I'm overweight. I am intellectual. Okay, I think. I'm a deep thinker. Okay, so No, no. Matter of fact is what I see. I see quite the opposite. I see the chubby women who are thinking about philosophy on the internet. Chubby women who are, many of them are alone. Many of them have cats, and then they get accused of being cat ladies or fat Karens or whatever. I bet you have cats. Like that's some kind of bad thing or something. I hear all of these things, and I'm like, brother, you need a cake in your face. God. No, I see the opposite. Chubby women are the ones that are asking the questions. The chubby women are the ones that say, I prefer my eating pleasure. That means more to me than some ridiculous shit society standards that are being pawned off on me. So, and so I guess there's a lot of men that are overweight that are intellectual. The overweight men usually they have a higher percentage of accepting an overweight girlfriend. So there are many different types of men who like different types of women and who like chubby women. And I would just postulate from my own observations that almost all of them really like the chubby women, but some of them don't even dare to admit it to themselves. So Paul does not like fat people. And he thinks I am too overweight, but it's not like outside of wanting. So it's not beyond that. It's not going over that threshold. So for him, outside of wanting is the audiologist, people who are obese, big fat Republican meat eater ladies who like competition sports. That's like a red flag for him, and I am on board with that. I agree, fully agree. That's not very attractive at all. No. I haven't seen the audiologist, but from what he told me, she doesn't even deserve any more video anonymity respect for me because of how they treated us there. That was pretty bad. That was really bad. That's even worse than cake in the face. I want to punch them, but I'm not going to do it. But no, pretty darn bad. But I mean, they got issues. So from the sky perspective, I see a lot of people got some issues, that they have to be dealing with, and they're not dealing with it because they have never even been confronted with something like this. So, but no, obese is not attractive. I find women, who are in my personal, I don't know how to call it, weight range. I find that attractive, and from what I've observed, most men find that attractive. Okay, around the whole globe. There are places in India where that is an ideal. Okay, so there are places where they like it. There are places where it's somewhat acceptable, and there are, of course, in the Western world where it's not acceptable, but they still like it. But some of them still go for them, but they don't like the way they're being treated by others. And then there are others who date those overweight women like myself secretly. They have mistresses. And then there are those men, I've seen those men on the internet. There are those men that won't even admit to themselves that they like them, but I've seen those men also look at those women. So So Paul, yeah, he likes the the 200-pound range is still sexy somewhat to him. He likes them skinnier, but I don't know if that's really what he wants or if that is what he's telling himself. But he's a petite little guy, so he would probably feel a little bit more comfortable with a petite girl. So obviously, and I hope he finds one. So I try to help him with this, but that always shoots out sideways. that never goes anywhere. That's just embarrassing him. So no, I can't do that anymore. He has to do that himself. But yeah, we came to the conclusion today that this is the only way we can do this. We can get a piece of land, and like we've already been planning on doing, but then he doesn't do this. But it's kind of difficult to find the right piece of land. He's kind of bound to California right now. That makes it extra difficult in our search. So there are cheaper places out there in Nevada, okay, where people will go somewhere else during the summer. But if you do everything right, you have the right sprinkler system, if you get adapted, you can make it work all year round. So I know you can make it work for sure. So we want to get a large piece of land, large enough, he said, so that he doesn't, so I have my own dwelling, so that he doesn't see me inviting a boyfriend over, or two or three. So no, he doesn't want to see that, and I understand. So that's been very, very difficult so far to deal with this. He looks over my shoulder, which is not cool. But he wants to control my life. That's not cool. You cannot control someone else's life. You cannot be spying on someone and then get mad at what you see, at the other person's behavior. It was you spying after all, you did it to yourself. So in that sense, you spy and you lurk and you want to control, and then you want to, I don't know, that's what some men do. And then they want to do extortion, they want to threaten, they come with the hammer, the psychological hammer, or with some kind of meat grinder, or with a meat hook. You know what I'm talking, exactly what I'm talking about here. Okay, so you spy, you don't offer love, then you spy to control, but that doesn't control anything, obviously. You just see that you are not controlling the other person, and then you want to come with the meat hook. Yeah, that's how it always goes. So I hope I make some sense here, but at the same time, you don't it goes so far you don't even want to be seen talking to me. You don't even want anyone to know that you have ever even said anything to me in a nicer way or in a flirtatious way. I never flirted with you, you will say to everyone else. You have style. You never flirted with a trailer mama, okay? Yes, you have, okay, baby, you have, okay? And you know it. And I'm trying to shed some truth light onto this, because I think it is time for people to look at the truth, at the facts, at what's actually happening, and look at the situation. If you say if you come to the conclusion, this or that woman or whatever, I don't want them, then that's good. If you're honest with yourself, you don't want them, okay? No, you don't want them. You want someone else. You take the petite oriental girl or whatever. That's all good. But if your body is still looking at the other, then you know there is a discrepancy happening. There is a dissonance happening, okay, between that what you say to yourself that you want, or what you think that is respectable, and that what your body actually craves. Okay. So this is the truth. Our bodies don't lie. Okay, whether people are straight or gay or bisexual or whatever they want, whatever they like. Some people make love with cars. It is the truth. I'm not making fun of this. Okay, I've seen documentary films. I thought this is a joke, but it's not. Okay, there are item fetishes. Okay, like this. So, and I talked about this before. There are guys who are doing female horses, and that is a total taboo. Not in terms of morals or something. I have no problem with people having item fetishes, like cars or Eiffel Tower, so whatever. They want to rub themselves against that. There's no problem whatsoever. I have a problem when men are doing female animals, because I talked about this many times, and people think this is some kind of really, really, they think this is some kind of taboo subject. We need to talk about this. These are the things we have to talk about, okay? Because there was a man, he was doing his female pony, I don't know, for years, until she finally fell over dead. And why did she fall over dead? She had toxic shock syndrome in her body from his sperm, okay? The body could, at some point, maybe one time her immune system could fight that off, and it's the same with all kinds of things that we do. If people abuse their bodies over and over in the same place or in the same way, at some point the immune system gives up. The immune system can't cope with that anymore, okay? And there'll be infection, there'll be toxic shock, there'll be the C word. I don't like to use that word. So those are immune collapses. That's all that is. There's not a mystery about it. And he killed his horse. He didn't even know. He didn't even realize. He was just, oh, she suddenly died. I wonder why. So no, this is not good. Okay, it's not acceptable. If women do it with male animals, they're on their own. That's their responsibility. If they want to get toxic shock syndrome, that's their business. Okay, the animal is not suffering from that. The animals are our babies. Okay, they do not know how to defend themselves. They do not have that quick-witted prefrontal cortical abstract type of understanding everything that people do and the dangers and all of this. They don't. They're like little children. They're like toddlers. Okay? So we are their custodians. We hold the responsibility for all of these beings around us. Okay? If we have this kind of brain, we have to use it, and we have to make the best out of it. We have to be the caregivers. We have to be the care providers. We have to be the protectors of the other beings. Okay? That's our responsibility that we have to live up to. So I have to always bring this in, because this is very, 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 very important. Okay? So there are many different types of wants and fetishes and likes and so on. For those men that love to do it with ponies, get yourself a pony robot, a companion pony robot, sex robot. They make these robots now. They make all of this. Or you get a fake pony, just stuffed animal or, a rubber pony or whatever. So with a rubber vagina. So don't hurt an animal. Become aware. People need to be taught biology. And I don't see anyone teaching biology. I saw that documentary film. None of these people had any clue. I mean, it was so obvious to me. He poisoned that horse. He made her toxic. The system shut down. Okay? It's horrific. Absolutely horrific. Whether the pony liked that activity or not, So if she didn't like it, that'd be total rape. But this is total irresponsibility to make the pony toxic, okay, with foreign substances, which her body doesn't recognize as sperm, okay, because that's a different species, brother, So obviously, the body doesn't recognize that sperm as part of the reproductive system activity. And I hope that makes logical sense now, what I'm saying. But, people can they can get robots, they can get companion robots of any kind of form, as much as they want to, This is all, people need to become, they need to become completely clear on what they want, what they personally really want and desire. Okay. That's all good as long as this does not involve violence. The moment a fetish involves violence, it's no longer acceptable. Okay. I have to separate these things here. I have to sort all of this out for people, because I see that most people don't have a clue. They don't know where to set the boundaries with anything. They go like, oh, I need to be tolerant, so I tolerate Islam and the sadomaso community. They have rights too. Or let's petition for the psychopath. Cake in the face. No. Don't, okay? Don't tolerate violence. You're not being tolerant if you tolerate violence. You're not tolerant towards the victims, okay? So become aware about all of this. Think for yourself instead of letting other groups or whatever, or political parties think for you or tell you how to think. Think for yourself. Think in terms of peace and love and health and ethics. Okay, being custodians, being responsible. So let's make this world peaceful and loving. Okay, not be holding the other cheek when it comes to violence. Not be catering to those who are hurting other beings, animals and humans, or children. So don't be tolerant of that. No, there's absolutely zero tolerance for violence. Okay, if people have fetishes, I talked to Enigma about this on Facebook. He accused me of being prudish. He doesn't understand it at all. So then he finally blocked me. It's okay, you blocked yourself. If you want to be a complete jerk, do whatever you want to do. But it's my plea to you and the whole world. Don't hurt another living being. Don't hurt your girlfriend. Don't hurt your wife. Don't hurt anyone with your fetishes that are violent. Okay? Don't do violent sexual activities. Okay? Just don't do it. Be there for the other living being. Okay? You want her to feel good. That's not prudish. That's compassionate. I hope that makes sense. So, and in terms of, this pride, with my brother, wanting, I don't know if I should be talking about this like this, but, he falls into this peer pressure. He lets society intimidate him into showing himself outside with models and with some kind of... He also wants an intellectual woman, which is great, this is good, but a lot of men want that for prestige purposes, to show off with. Then that's not the right reason again. Don't you want an intellectual, intelligent woman so you have intellectual, intelligent, and interesting conversations with her, right? That would be the right reasoning, the right motive, and not to say, oh, my wife is a scientist, now I can be proud. And then there are men who they feel dwarfed by their scientist wives. That's all ego, total ego. So can we become aware about the ego and become crystal clear on the ego? What is the ego, and what is your true nature and your true biology? That's what I'm aiming at. That's what I'm trying to get across to people. Become aware of what your body needs. Your spinal cord needs to be straightened. Your sexual needs need to be fulfilled, not bypassed with prestige. Then you are suffering and you're miserable, and you might even beat yourself up or hate yourself for coming back to those BBW websites, and you think you're out of style. And no, that's your biology. Love your biology. Love your body. Love that what you love, and love that what you want and crave and lust for. Okay, there is no shame in it. Okay? No shame. There's no shame in a man having a car fetish and liking his VW bug, calling her a beautiful female name, Daisy, or Rose, my VW bug. There are those guys, that's kind of rare, but there are those kind of guys out there, and this is okay. Society will snap on that. Most people will laugh, of course, but it's perfectly okay. There's no shame in this, because you're not hurting anyone. Okay? You're just going for what your personal preference is. There's no shame in it, and I don't laugh about this. This is bizarre, to say the least. But it's your business. Okay, totally your business. It's not your business anymore when you're hurting other beings. When you are harassing people on the internet, that's not your business. That's you don't have the right to say it's none of your business. It is my business. Okay, you better believe it. And it's all of our business when we see other people on the internet being bullied, and often bullied into suicide. This is all of our business. Okay. This is unacceptable. It's unacceptable to lash out your frustrations on other people. And guess where a lot of those frustrations come from? And that's self-hate, of course. That's the driving force for those abusive behaviors. There's self-hate behind. And then what's behind the self-hate is a social and biological dissonance inside of you. You ignore your own needs, and then you are frustrated. Okay? and then you don't even know why you're frustrated because you never looked into yourself, and then you are lashing out at other people because you're frustrated. Okay, this is a vicious cycle. Okay, this is not going anywhere. That's not good for you, it's not good for others, it doesn't serve the greater good, and it doesn't even feel good to you. Okay, this is what Tony Robbins calls a class 4 experience, and he said you would be surprised to see how high the percentage is of class 4 experience behavior that people do. Okay, something that doesn't feel good, isn't good for you, isn't good for others, and doesn't serve the greater good. That's a real miserable activity. Okay, and people do this because of this dissonance between their mind, between their ego and their biological needs. And that's what's happening. That happens to a lot of gay people because they want to fit into society still to this day, even though we have tolerance now for that. Okay, so there are still a lot of closeted gay people because of this, and they're frustrated, and they live, Jeffrey Dahmer is like really the absolute epitome example for that. That is a volcano that was erupting in that man. Okay, Jeffrey Dahmer, you know that story, so famous serial murderer. Okay, a gay man, closeted gay man. Of course, he knew what he wanted, but he didn't really want to admit it to himself. But then he would always find himself in bed with a man again, picking up a man from a bar, and then because he hated himself for that behavior, because he wanted to belong to that evangelical religion, okay, that has no tolerance for any of these things. He wanted to belong to that shit religion, so he hated himself, and then he hated that guy, and then he was so mad at his own action and at the guy that he murdered the guy, and that happened many, many times, and then he would eat those people also. So it's just abhorrent. It is so... this is really, that's an extreme example. No, not everyone is like Jeffrey Dahmer, but Jeffrey Dahmer had an extreme disconnect between his body, his wanting, and his ego. Okay, and he always catered to the ego. Okay, and people had to die because of that. Okay, so I hope this makes it as clear as possible now, what I'm saying, and using these examples also, because the detail is always in the examples. I hope this makes it perfectly clear now, and not everyone is in these extremes. And then you think, oh, I'm normal. No, you gotta look at yourself. You gotta look at what you really want. If you are miserable, if you're suffering, you are not in the flow. You are not giving yourself that what you want. Okay, so, for example, in my situation, I would like to have a boyfriend, and I am not with Paul anymore, and we haven't been in a long time. Okay, so we are just friends, and I need a boyfriend, but it's not my ego that prevents me from doing this. It's my fear. I am afraid. I'm afraid of men, and particularly those men that are usually attracted to me. Okay, I'm afraid of, because those tend to be the violent types. Okay, and so there is a disconnect happening here, not in a cognitive or in biological way. There is a not really disconnect, but there's a dissonance because of my fear. So I can't really get out of this safe place. So I can't really get out, but I want to. So this is tragic. But I'm in a flow state psychologically, because I talk about these things. to psychiatrist Kronborg, and I paint. This is my lifesaver, okay? And often when I paint, I cry. The tears are just streaming. Earlier I was thinking about the iridescent ghost. Tears were just streaming. I'm talking to him because I know he's listening through that computer as well. So, and it is what it is. And I said everything. I'm absolutely radically honest with you about how I feel. So, yeah, most people are too afraid to be honest. They're even too afraid to be honest to themselves. But this is what I want to help people with. Become radically honest to yourself. What do you want? Everyone out there, every one of you, women and men, what do you want? Who do you want to be with? Don't beat yourself up. If you are a lesbian out there and you just hate that because you think this is somehow shady or whatever your society told you, you are in a disconnect, okay? You are in a dissonance. Love those you love, okay? Go for that, man, baby, woman, okay? Brother, sister. So go for it, all of you, every one of you, no matter who you are. I see a lot of star children are coming into this world, indigos and angel souls, and they already admit that at age 10 who they are. So, because they had a whole bunch of lifetimes already past them. They are not as hellbound onto society standards, no matter what their parents are about, no matter whether their parents are Mormons or evangelical Christians or Jehovah's Witnesses or Muslims. Those star children, those indigos, those light workers, those angels, God levels, and up, they know what's right and wrong. Okay, they have seen things already. So this goes into metaphysics, of course. So, but in this lifetime, become aware of who you are and what you want. What do you really want? And then stick with that against shit society. Stick with that. If your current friends turn away, say, hey, cool, go, unsubscribe yourself for me. I'm not worried about it, okay? I'm worried about me being happy. I want to be happy. I'm concerned about my well-being, my happiness, okay? I want to be in a flow. I want to love who I want to love. And the hell with all of those people, So if they want to laugh about it, that's their hell. I'm not concerned about that. Let them laugh. It doesn't matter. So I go for what I want 100%. It's just right now this fear situation is in the way. That's not the ego. That's a physical fear. I have been beaten. And if someone threatens me with a meat hook, you better understand why I'm afraid. Okay, you better understand that fully. Okay, and there's no way I'm gonna be in some kind of cyber basement there, waiting for someone to become nice to me and say, I switched. I became a saint now. Now you can come out of that cyber basement. I let you be free. This switch is probably not going to be very likely, because people act out of their pain, and that pain isn't gone. Okay, they can try to be nice, but it doesn't take very long until they become vicious again. Okay, you know how that goes. If you observe yourself, you can clearly see it. You can try to be nice for a while, but then the frustration comes up. higher and higher and higher, jealousy, possessiveness, and all of this, and then you come out with a psychological hammer again, okay? And you go for everyone, particularly me. I'm your number one scapegoat. I can take the beating. I'm your trash can. So, no, don't expect me then to feel loved or respected. That's not love, man. It's not love. And you know it. I love you. I care about you. I really do. On all levels. Iridescent ghost. Mirage. A mirage. Cutesy. I come to tease you a little bit. Yeah, you want to tease me. And you want to own me also. It doesn't work that way. You either here on my side in physical form and you say, I stick with you no matter what, the heck with other people if they laugh. Okay. You either do this and you be real. And there's real love. Okay. And you protect me and you want me to feel good. You pamper me. You want my well-being. Okay. That's love. Coming with a hammer was coming with a chainsaw, coming with a meat hook. That's not love. Okay. That's ego, frustrations. Okay. That's mental illness. And you know it. I love you anyway. That's who I am. I love you anyway. Because I see you're suffering. But you have to look at the situation for what it is. Okay. Look at it. Okay. This is the situation. Okay. You are not showing yourself to me in any way. Okay. You don't show your true face, and you're usually mean to me. And you are frustrated that I am not in your cyber basement, that I live my life, okay? That I flirt with others, that I check other people out, that I talk to people. Anyone who's nice, I talk to them. I give everyone the same chance of friendship and happiness and communication. In terms of dating, yeah, I eliminated a lot of those guys. They eliminated themselves. So with their meanness and so on. And their egos. And I don't want drama in my life. I don't want to be mistreated. Sorry, I have to say that. I love myself. I love my body, my face, my biology, my mind. I am lovely and I'm deserving of love. And I said that many, many times to myself that was after the papa died, when I was bullied so much. I don't know who these people were who bullied me, but I was bullied so badly, also by Muslim men who want to kill me. I had to sit there on the couch. I was sobbing for hours, petting myself like this. Nicola, you are lovely and you're deserving of love. Believe it. And I am, and you are too. Okay, you are too. All of you, no matter how violent you are. You are. Your violence comes out of your pain. It comes out of your frustration. I see it. I understand now. I really do. But I'm not going to hold the other cheek. I'm not going to go there and let you beat me up. I'm not going to allow that. Okay? Psychologically, I'm not going to allow it. And physically, I'm not going to allow it. And I don't want anyone else to allow any man to beat them up. Okay? or any person. Don't allow anyone to abuse you. And don't abuse yourselves either in any way. Come clean with what you want. I'm trying to help. I'm trying to shed light so that you can look into yourself. You have an intimacy with yourself. Into me see. You into you see. Okay? You become your own observer. Become clear on what you want and then go for it. It's very, very, very straightforward, really. Very straightforward. It's not complicated at all. Okay? But you have to be willing. This takes the ego to relax. We have to love ourselves. This is infinitely important. Okay? So, you guys take care. Bye-bye.